We got this from Politico. Trump says he will remove temporary protected status and deport Haitian migrants in Springfield. The GOP presidential nominee's onslaught against the migrants in Springfield has been at the forefront of his campaign in recent weeks. Sure. But here we have it from Kamala's Wins on X. Breaking in a stunning announcement, Donald Trump just announced that he will revoke the protective status of Haitian migrants in Ohio legally. This is repulsive. Retweet so that all Americans see how vile Trump really is. What I love about this, I will play the clip for you in a second, is that all the responses from the right is like, yes, please share. Because immigration is the number 2 issue in the country right now. That's why Trump is taking this approach. Check this out.
Springfield is such a beautiful place. Have you seen what's happened to it? It's been overrun. You can't do that to people. They have to be removed.
So you would revoke the temporary protected status?
Absolutely. I'd revoke it and I'd bring them back to their country.
So let's talk about CBP One app and what J.D. Vance was calling out at the debate. Illegal immigrants come to this country. They then basically, pending trial or whatever, open up an app and say, I would like to be temporarily protected. And they go, you're good. That's it. That is when they keep running this lie about the border security bipartisan bill. What it actually was codifying illegal immigration as they run it now. The idea was, Kamala Harris is like, Democrats and Republicans came together and said, we need more border guards. We need this to secure our borders. No, what it would have done was it would have legalized. The argument is actually quite simple. The bill they put forward was, we're going to end illegal immigration overnight by making it legal. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They said we were going to speed up adjudication. Yes, by giving a fast track for approval. Mm-hmm. We want proper vetting. We want to make sure I'm all for immigration. Right. I was talking about Hung Cao. He's running for Senate in Virginia. And his story is that his parents were evacuated out of Vietnam when the communists were taking over at the fall of Saigon. Yeah. And he joined, I believe it was the Navy, right? He's a Navy captain, served for 25 years. You want to talk about an immigration story that warms your heart. This guy said, America saved my life. And then he goes and gives back to this country. I love those stories. Bring all the immigrants here. Let's get good people who respect our laws. But these people don't.
Well, and people who want to be American.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the big difference.
Yeah.
So Trump is absolutely correct to say we should not fast track random people who broke our laws and reward them with temporary protected status.
What I don't understand also is you have people who get temporary protective status through the CBP One app because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris allowed that an extra 30,000 people per month can come in through that app from specific countries. Those specific countries are Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Haiti, right? But if you look at the special interest aliens, which is just a term of art of government, the special interest aliens, there are 26 countries that the DHS has determined pose the greatest national security and counterintelligence threats to the U.S. The special interest countries include a bunch of them, and Cuba and Venezuela. So why do we have on the same list that we have special interest countries like these people could be a danger to us? Why are they also the ones getting temporary protected status? And we're seeing this gang infiltrating the U.S., this Tren de Aragua gang, which may now have been linked to Jocelyn Nungare's death in Texas, which there's James O'Keefe discovered there's like 400 operating people from this gang in New York City. They're all over the place. The guy who killed Laken Riley may have been part of this gang. Certainly his brother and his cousin were. And he came into the country and applied for asylum. Mm-hmm. And you can apply for asylum at the border, and all you have to say is that you fear going home. You fear retribution at home. You can ditch your ID. And this CBP One app, you can download it, and you could go through this yourself, and you can look at it. You can put in any name. You can put in anything, and you schedule a date to surrender yourself. You get a court date. And the idea was, originally when this app was created, it was actually created not for immigration, but to facilitate faster importation of perishable goods. That's what it was for.
And the Biden administration was like,
wow.
That's what it was used for under Trump. It was like they created the app and it was like, okay, you're bringing in a bunch of bananas. We don't want you to get jammed up at ports. Why don't you schedule an appointment to come in at a port? and drop off your bananas or whatever.
Dropping off your bananas.
And the
Stuff
Biden
like that.
administration was like, you know what we like? Amnesty light. Let's go.
Amnesty light.
It's crazy. It is fascinating to me that they are presenting this as like, oh, we are. Often they'll say when they want funding, we want more technology at the border, and the CBP One app is now becoming kind of one of those tags. Like, well, we've innovated it, so it makes it faster, and that helps border agents. But what actually they're communicating is we do not care about national security, no matter how much we posture. If they did, they would not offer this app. They would have terminated Alejandro Mayorkas, and they would take the border seriously. But instead, it is about changing I would think, the demographics of America in a way that favors their policies and their potential to stay in power.
Well, it's worse. The stories that you see, whether they're attributed to this gang or a similar, are just the tip of the iceberg. It's like when a cockroach pops out of the wall.
Oh, and you know that there's a million
there's
in there.
a million in there. Yeah. So what's happening right now, even in my childhood neighborhood of Highland Park, you went to SMU for college. You know the neighborhood well. It's the nicest place in all of Texas. It's the safest and everything like that. And they've had 2 attacks in the last week.
Yeah.
Wow. And it doesn't reach the national news because it's not the mainstream media talking point. It would go against.
Well, it also doesn't reach the national news because it doesn't reach the local news.
Right.
We had, I don't know if everybody remembers but we had conglomerations of newspaper companies getting together, buying up local presses, and then dismembering the local presses and consolidating and consolidating and consolidating. So now if you're a news outlet, there's not a lot of local sources to go look to. Even at the Post-Millennial, we used to see a lot more local sources, and we'd see something like that, and we'd be like, this should be a national story, let's blow it up. The local news outlets aren't there. I mean, it's even hard to get local weather.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the local news folks, they want to be national news folks, so they would never ruin their invitation to rise up. But
But local people need local news.
Well, and also the challenge is that most of these communities, they're very conservative, mostly Christian. They really don't totally always understand all the intricacies of giant sort of globalism and all this kind of stuff. And so they're sitting ducks. They're actually marks for these types of gangs. And so this is just going to get worse. And it's really sad because they're so accepting, these communities, and they're so warm and friendly, and they're going to it's going to end badly.
They pay the price for the federal government's
what they can't understand, they can't even fathom, is what happens when the grid goes down, or what happens when a hurricane hits their neighborhood, and they're down for 2-3 weeks. It's going to get bad.
So just to add on to this, when you go to Gallup's most recent, most important problem poll, we can see that the economy in general is at 24% and immigration is 22%, and they are deeply connected. Now, the fascinating thing is that there's this informal prediction system that Gallup has. They poll people in election years and ask them, what is the most pressing issue? They then ask them, which political party do you think will handle the most pressing issue? And since I think it was 1952, these dual polls have predicted accurately which party wins. And right now, based on Gallup's polls, looks like Republicans should win. Donald Trump is heavily favored on the economy and immigration. And so I'm going to have to break it to all our liberal friends, Joe Walsh and others. He's supposedly a conservative. I don't know, but he wants to vote for Democrats. You can hate Donald Trump all you want. You can criticize him. You can say the mean tweets, the name calling is beneath us, and I can't stand it. And you know what's going to happen? Regular Americans are going to say, I'm voting with my pocketbook and I'm voting for my family. I am concerned about the waste of money. I am concerned about the high cost of living and inflation, which is the third highest. Went to the grocery store today. It's $130, and we had, I think, three bags.
Yep.
I don't even know. We got some blueberries. I'll admit it. Some raspberries, some blackberries.
Well, that's $25 right there.
It was. And some coconut milk. And we didn't get meat or anything.
Oh, you can't buy meat anymore at the grocery store. That's why I started buying meat in bulk. I buy it from these
in the freezer.
No, that's
right?
that's like the best.
That's
way to
what
do
I
it
do.
right
You
now.
should
Buy a whole
see this.
cow.
I have this brisket in the freezer right now. It's like this big. I made one of the small ones last week. I made brisket ramen. That was really good. And I made birria tacos with it. And
I wanted a whipped cream. It was $6.
well, don't buy you buy the heavy whipping cream and you whip it yourself. It's way better. It has it has less crap in it.
But
You're always talking about you don't want to eat the bad stuff. Like whip your own damn cream.
Libby's best slogan of all time.
You've convinced me. No, but I mean, and we've done that
You
before.
get more. You get more.
I
whipped cream.
have a story for you. A couple of years ago, we had heavy cream, and I was like, I want to make whipped cream because it's keto, right? And so I put it in a mixing bowl. I just poured the whole thing in, and I was like, I'll put it on low, and then I'm going to go record a 20-minute.
Oh, and you made
segment.
butter, didn't you?
No, Allison walks in the kitchen, and there's buttermilk spraying everywhere because it whipped butter and then started smacking the buttermilk all in the air. And she walked, and she's like, what the? And I'm like, I get up, I'm like, what happened? And I'm like, oops.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. Come on.
You could also
I just buy Ready Whip. What am I?
You could use instead of using confectioner's sugar, if you want to sweeten up your whipped cream a little bit, use monk fruit sugar.
Yeah.
That's keto.
I didn't have to. I don't
little
I
vanilla.
don't need any sugar in it.
Wow.
Whipped cream tastes good. You dip a
delicious.
strawberry in it. You know
I
what
like
mean?
to put in a little
No,
vanilla.
but in all seriousness, we got strawberries. I was going to get the Ready Whip, and I'm not sure if it was Ready Whip, but it was $5.99. And I was just like, ugh, I don't need whipped cream that bad.
But Kamala says that's price gouging.
Oh, I blame Ready Whip for the high cost. No, our old grocery store, we used to go to a Weiss, or is it Weiss? I don't know. Weiss. But I like saying Weiss because it's, more German. But they had no heavy cream. And it was wild because I'm doing keto. I'm like, I want to put a little bit of heavy cream in my coffee. And we would go there, and for like a couple months, they just never had any. And I'm like, come on, that's not right. And someone told us that there's shortages, it's expensive, things like that. And so I think this is the reality. What really grinds my gears a whole lot. I was reading Nate Silver this morning, and I just kind of went off because he's like, the economy is good, but it's not great. And I was just ready to flip this table. This table weighs 1,000 pounds, so I ain't flipping anything. But I'm like, dude, we have employees. We have costs for there's a big old box of meat sticks right in front of me. Well, people get hungry on the show, and then once the show wraps up, they'll be like, I need a snack. And okay, we got meat sticks. I have to buy these things. I go online and I look up all the snacks and the protein shakes and the water, and it's just the prices are getting crazy. And it's frustrating. And then I go to the grocery store, I go to Food Line like everybody else, and I have to buy these things. So when they tell me the economy is good, I'm like, how many of these people, is Nate Silver running a company? I don't know, maybe he is. But have you dealt with the costs, the ancillary costs of everything you need running a company, supplies? I mean, when you got to buy pens and pads of paper, is he looking at this stuff? Because I am. And I'm like, prices are getting nuts. And it's bad for business. So when they come out and they're like, the economy is good, trust the numbers. I'm like, no, I'm running a company. I have to buy drinks, water, food, snacks, pen, paper, etc. Printer paper, ink cartridges. It's getting expensive every day. It's getting worse. Again, I got 3 or 4 bags of groceries today. We got some blueberries and some coconut milk. And then the lady's like, that'll be $129.60. And I was like, wait, what? What did we get?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm fed up with them saying, trust us, the economy is good. Well, it's not for me. I don't know.
I don't want to trust anybody ever again.
Yeah,
I'm done trusting you and your big stupid government, your experts. Ever since COVID, we're done.
But Tim Wall says trust the experts, Libby.
Yeah,
so bigoted.
And apparently he's an expert. What is he an expert in? What is he an expert in?
He's an expert in tampons in the men's room.
Right.
He's not even an expert football coach. He was the assistant football coach.
Assistant.
It's rough. No, but seriously, doesn't it make you wonder what a bad economy to them would look like? I fear for that. If this is good, what is bad?
Yeah, I was talking to one of my sisters today, and she was telling me that she's looking for a new job and no one's hiring full time anywhere. And she's like, "What is that? There's only part-time work available."
I think we're facing a serious managerial and labor crisis.
Well, no one wants to work.
Nobody wants to work.
No one wants to hire.
Yeah, I think there's a talent crisis.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
You were mentioning this before, so I'm stealing your line. I don't want to take it from you, but I've been referring to this as we have a managerial crisis. That I think what happened during the lockdowns is that a lot of people retired. So instantly, the older generation, so this is basically a lot of boomers, just said, you know what, I'm out. Older Gen Xers said, I'm done. And with COVID, they all just said, we're moving on. Instantly, managers and people who run the show were out of the workforce. That forced a bunch of people who are not ready to run the show upwards, and many didn't even take it. So I take a look at a lot of businesses that never reopened. I take a look at, there are, a good example that I like to use is at the local casino, the racetrack. They used to have a restaurant where you could sit down, order food, and watch the horse races. And you don't bet $1 million on horses. You get a problem. You go there and you bet $1 on the horse with a funny name while you're having dinner, and it gives you something to like, oh wait, there it goes. The horses are off. No restaurant anymore. And I asked them why it was, and they said after COVID, a bunch of people quit and they couldn't find anybody to take their job, so they just shut it down. And I'm like, it's the racetrack. It's been here for 100-something years. It's just gone. And I've talked to a bunch of businesses that have said similar things. So we're lacking the skills. We're lacking the gumption. I feel like there's a lot of people who don't want to work, and it's all generations. I don't know how you solve that problem.
I mean, I don't want to work, but I still work.
I just don't get it. I love work.
I work really hard. Well, sometimes I'd like a day off.
I put a camera on my chicken coop to monetize and turn my chickens into a business. It was fun. Actually, shout out to my brother, Chris, who did all of the heavy lifting to make the chicken food dispenser so that when you feed the chickens, snacks come down, and after $100, a disco ball plays dance music for the chickens, and we had a blast doing it. And that's business. That's work.
Do you think any of it is people now feel like work has to be a huge part of their identity? And for some people that works really well.
I think that might be true.
But some people are like, but I don't want to wait tables. Like, I'm actually supposed to be doing. You were mentioning before the show, and maybe you can talk a little bit about this. There are lots of young people in Hollywood who you maybe would have thought are like, I'm going to earn my way up the ranks. I'm going to try and whatever. And they like come in expecting to run a studio right away. I mean, there is a level of like, I should be doing something else. And if I'm not doing that thing,
I'm too good for my job.
Right. I'm not going to work at this level.
Oh, certainly. I mean, that's a major, major problem, not necessarily on the right, but for big Hollywood and the studios. I mean, look at the strikes. Look at the strikes from last year.
Oh, they were ridiculously
They were
stupid.
the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I've shamed them online every single day. I was the one producer who was willing to say anything, and it will go down as the thing that ruined Hollywood. They have zero protections from AI. They have limited wins here and there. But the point to your point, they all believe that they should have their own shows. They all believe it, and they don't deserve them. They aren't talented enough to have their own shows, but they've been,
they're following their dreams, Alex.
Oh, yeah,
they're all unique, beautiful snowflakes.
Yeah. And Hollywood told
They're living their truth.
Hollywood told them they were supposed to all have their own shows.
Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe, and we'll see you all there.